What if the life you're living right now isn't a reflection of your potential, but a reflection of your habits? Think about that for a second. Not your talent, not your dreams, not your intelligence, just your habits. The things you do when no one is watching, the things you repeat without thinking, the small decisions you make every day that either build your future or silently destroy it. Most people don't fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they repeat patterns that work against them. They wake up and go through the motions. They live in reaction, not intention. They're stuck in cycles of distraction, procrastination, and self-doubt, all rooted in habit. And deep down, they know they were meant for more, but wanting more isn't enough, because your life doesn't change when you want it to. It changes when you change what you do daily. It's easy to set goals. It's easy to dream big, but it's what you do every day that shapes who you become. Your habits are like votes. Every single one casts a decision about the kind of person you are, the kind of future you're building. If you stay stuck in habits that drain you, distract you, or delay you, your potential never gets the chance to breathe. It never comes alive. This is why most people feel overwhelmed, burned out, disconnected from purpose. They keep thinking they need more motivation, but what they really need is a shift in identity, anchored by habits that support who they want to be, because when your habits align with your purpose, you become powerful. Unstoppable, grounded. Imagine waking up with clarity, starting your day with intention, knowing what matters and actually acting on it. Imagine ending your day with peace, not regret. That's not a fantasy. That's the quiet reward of daily discipline, the invisible power of doing the right things over and over again. It's not glamorous, it's not dramatic, but it works every single time. You don't need to change your whole life in one day. That's the myth that keeps people stuck. The truth is, if you can master your morning, your mind will follow. If you can take control of just the first few actions of your day, you'll stop reacting and start creating. And the moment you shift from passive to purposeful, everything begins to change, because it's not about intensity, it's about consistency. It's not about doing everything right. It's about doing the right things long enough to change your identity. Small habits done daily don't just make your life better. They make you better, stronger, clearer, more focused. And here's the real secret. Once you start building habits that align with your highest self, your brain starts to believe in you again. That voice of doubt gets quieter, that fog of confusion lifts. You start making decisions faster. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You begin to trust your own energy. So if you feel stuck right now, if you feel like life is slipping through your fingers, don't look for a massive breakthrough. Look for a habit you can build, one small promise you can keep, and then keep it every single day. That's how you rise. That's how you reclaim your life. The habits you build daily are either making you more powerful or making you more passive. There is no neutral. Time is passing, energy is being spent, and your future is forming whether you're intentional about it or not. So take your power back, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because once you learn to live with intention, once you begin to master even the smallest routines, you start seeing yourself differently. You begin to show up differently, and the world responds to that. New opportunities appear. People start to treat you according to the energy you carry. This isn't about perfection. It's about momentum. About stacking small wins. About becoming the kind of person who no longer needs motivation to take action. Because action becomes who you are, you become the person who follows through, who honors their own word, who doesn't just dream of change, but embodies it, breathes it, lives it. You already have the power. You don't need permission. You need direction. You need alignment, and that begins with your habits. Because when your daily actions match your vision, everything starts to move faster, smoother, stronger. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're ready to stop starting over, then let today be the day you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start building the habits that create it. Because your best life isn't waiting for you at the end of a goal. It's waiting for you inside the habits you build daily. This is your foundation. This is your beginning. And this is where transformation starts. Real transformation begins when your daily actions stop reflecting your past and start reflecting your future. The version of you you're trying to become isn't built in the heat of motivation. It's carved in the quiet repetition of discipline. One choice at a time, one habit at a time. You don't need a massive overhaul. You need small, consistent acts of alignment that speak directly to the person you're becoming. This is how you create momentum, by doing the small things with excellence and purpose every single day. It starts the moment you wake up, before the world pulls at you, before the noise floods in. That first breath, that first thought, that first action. It matters more than you think, because the first thing you do sets the tone for everything that follows. You can choose chaos, or you can choose control. You can reach for distraction, or you can anchor yourself in direction. That single choice defines your mental state, your energy, your decisions. When you rise with intention, you stop living in reaction. You start leading your life instead of being led by it. That one shift tone in your morning is the difference between drifting through your day and dominating it. This is how you build confidence, not through external results, but by doing what needs to be done when no one is watching. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your identity evolves. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying to change. You start becoming the person who simply does what must be done, and it's not about extremes. It's about consistency, making your bed, standing tall, breathing deeply, moving your body. These may seem small, but they carry a deeper message. I matter, my energy matters, my presence matters. These are not routines. These are rituals of self-respect. Your environment reflects your mind, and your mind reflects your environment. Clean your space, and you clear your thinking. Eliminate the clutter, and you unlock the clarity. When you stop tolerating chaos in your surroundings, you stop tolerating chaos in your choices, you become sharper, quieter, more grounded, and then there's stillness. A few minutes of silence, no phone, no scrolling, just presence, can shift your entire day. In that stillness you meet yourself, you face your thoughts, your fears, your focus. It's in silence that you reclaim control from the noise. Most people are scared to be alone with their mind, but this is where strength is built. Because if you can sit in silence and stay centered, you can walk through life without losing yourself. Then comes movement, not for aesthetics, for power, for momentum. Your body is your tool, it holds energy. Emotion, resistance, when you move it, walk, stretch, train. You release what doesn't belong and invite what does. You signal to your nervous system that you are alive, alert, and in control. You don't need an hour. You don't need perfection, you need presence. Move with purpose and everything within you moves too. Focus, discipline, clarity. Every day demands decisions, but not all decisions matter equally. This is where intention wins. Choose your top 3 priorities, just 3, not 10, not 100, 3 things that matter, 3 actions that align with your future. If you complete only those 3 and nothing else, your day is still a win. Because those priorities weren't noise, they were progress. This is where life shifts, from scattered to structured, from anxious to aligned. You no longer spend your energy chasing the illusion of productivity. You pour it into results that count, and as you repeat these patterns, your mind begins to rewire, doubt fades, discipline strengthens, direction sharpens. It's not about being perfect, it's about being relentless in the small things. Showing up for yourself, doing what needs to be done when it's boring, when it's hard, when no one claps. That's where real growth lives, that's where strength is forged, and the beauty of it is this. Once these habits become who you are, life becomes lighter. You stop battling yourself, you stop waiting for the right time, you start flowing with the rhythm of consistency, you stop chasing motivation because you've built something better, momentum. The world doesn't give you what you want. It responds to what you are. If you live scattered, you attract chaos. If you live with clarity, you create order. If you carry intention, the universe makes room for your path, but it all begins with the smallest choices repeated daily. This is your edge, not talent, not luck, but the way you move through your day, quiet, focused, certain. Every action you take is either training you to rise or training you to retreat. There is no in between. So ask yourself, what are you training for? What kind of person are you becoming when no one is watching? Because your habits are answering that question whether you realize it or not. And the life you want, the peace you crave, the power you know is inside of you. It's all waiting. Not out there, not someday, but in the tiny, often unseen, choices you make daily. You don't have to rush, you don't have to prove, you just have to show up for you, and keep showing up until it no longer feels like effort, until it feels like home, until the life you once dreamed of becomes the life you wake up to, one habit, one choice, one day at a time. Once you begin showing up for yourself every day, something powerful happens. You stop negotiating with your weakness. You stop giving power to your excuses. You stop waiting to feel ready, because discipline replaces doubt and structure silences chaos. The noise of the world starts to fade when you know exactly who you are and where you're headed. The habits you've built become your compass. They guide you when motivation disappears. They carry you when life feels heavy. And most of all, they remind you, this is who I am now. You start protecting your energy like it matters, because it does. You become intentional about what you allow into your space. Not every notification deserves your attention. Not every conversation needs your response. Not every distraction is worth your time. You begin to say no without guilt. You stop justifying your boundaries because you finally realize your focus is sacred. Your attention is currency, and anything that drains it is robbing you of your future. You learn to remove what weighs you down. One app, one habit, one commitment that no longer serves you, and with every unnecessary burden you let go, you create room for something better, for clarity, for creativity, for peace. You no longer need to be everywhere, do everything, or please everyone. You're no longer proving, you're building, you're no longer chasing, you're aligning, and in that alignment, life starts to feel different, sharper, calmer, more on purpose. You feed your mind with intention. You don't consume just for entertainment, you consume for elevation. You read, you reflect, you absorb ideas that stretch your thinking and expand your vision. Even 10 pages a day can change your trajectory, because what you feed your mind shapes your perspective. And your perspective shapes your decisions. The more you expose yourself to wisdom, the more your inner world begins to evolve. You start to think bigger, speak clearer, act with greater purpose, and through it all you track your progress. Not to be perfect, but to remember, to see how far you've come, to remind yourself, I am growing, I am moving, I am not who I was. One small win a day builds the muscle of belief. Every time you acknowledge progress, no matter how small, you anchor yourself in momentum. And momentum is what breaks the cycle of doubt. Momentum makes you unstoppable, because once you believe in your own progress, quitting stops feeling like an option. You end each day not in chaos but in gratitude. Not scrolling mindlessly, but reflecting intentionally. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to see what's still good, what's still working, what's still worth fighting for. And when you train your mind to focus on what you have instead of what you lack, you access a deeper strength. You tap into a part of yourself that can endure more, love more, give more. Gratitude rewires your brain to seek light even in darkness. And when you sleep with peace, you rise with purpose. Rest becomes part of your strategy, not something you earn, but something you protect, because sleep is where the body recovers, but it's also where the mind resets. It's in sleep that your brain organizes everything you've learned, everything you've become. The strongest people know this. Recovery isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. And when you prioritize quality rest, you wake up sharper, clearer, and more ready to face the day ahead. Each of these habits reinforces the next. They create a system of strength that holds you up when life gets heavy, and life will get heavy, but with these habits in place, you don't crumble, you adapt. You don't retreat, you rise, because now you've built an identity rooted in action, not emotion. Rooted in who you're becoming, not what you feel. You've become consistent, disciplined, anchored, and that changes everything. This isn't about trying harder. It's about being aligned, aligned with your values, aligned with your vision, aligned with the highest version of you. That alignment gives you clarity, and clarity gives you power. The power to choose what serves you, the power to walk away from what doesn't, the power to create a life that reflects your standards, not your circumstances. You no longer wait for the world to change. You change your world through your choices, through your focus, through your habits. Every day becomes a vote for your future. Every day becomes a quiet revolution against the person you used to be. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to explain it. Just keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep honoring the vision, and soon your life begins to reflect your discipline. Your results begin to mirror your consistency. People will wonder how you did it, what changed, what the secret was, but you'll know it wasn't one big decision, it wasn't one breakthrough moment, it was your habits built daily, kept privately, lived consistently. This is how you transform. This is how you take back control, not through force, but through intention, not by waiting, but by doing. The future doesn't belong to those who hope, it belongs to those who build. So build quietly, powerfully, relentlessly, one habit at a time. The real power begins the moment you stop living on autopilot, when your actions are no longer just reactions to the world, but deliberate steps toward the person you've chosen to become. That's when you break free from the invisible cage of comfort and mediocrity. That's when you stop existing and start creating, because no one stumbles into greatness. It's earned, brick by brick, habit by habit, decision by decision. And every day you act with purpose, you separate yourself from the masses who only wish while you work. There is no fast track, no hack, no shortcut to the life you desire. There's only what you do when it's boring. When it's inconvenient, when no one is validating your effort. That's where winners are built, not when it's easy, but when it's hard and you still show up. The world doesn't need another person chasing comfort. It needs people willing to sacrifice comfort for clarity, willing to give up what's easy for what's meaningful. You don't need another motivational quote. You need standards, and you need to live by them when it's the last thing you feel like doing. You train your mind by what you tolerate. Every time you let a distraction win, you weaken your will. Every time you delay action, you strengthen doubt, and over time, those small allowances become identity. But the opposite is also true. Every time you follow through, even when it's hard, you build mental armor. You start trusting your own strength. That's how self-respect grows. Not by shouting affirmations, but by living in integrity with your own standards. Discipline isn't punishment, it's self-respect in action. The challenge is that discipline doesn't always reward you immediately. The results take time, the progress is often invisible, and that's why most people give up. They quit not because it's impossible, but because they expect results on the same day they plant the seed. But true transformation doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who endure, who grind through the silence, who stay consistent in the dark, knowing the light will come. The reward is not just what you achieve, but who you become by refusing to quit. And once your identity shifts, everything changes. You're no longer just trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You're no longer chasing motivation. You move without needing it. You don't think about doing the right thing. You do it because it's who you are now. That's when habits become identity. And when your identity is strong, decisions become simple. You don't have to debate whether or not to show up. You don't have to fight your own mind. You just execute. That's what freedom looks like. Not doing whatever you want, whenever you want, but having the strength to choose what's right, even when it's hard. That kind of freedom makes you dangerous in the best way. Unshakable, focused, grounded. While others spiral in emotion, you operate from principle. While others wait for opportunity, you create it. You become the kind of person the world takes seriously, not because of what you say, but because of how you live. And that kind of power doesn't come from talent or luck. It comes from honoring the process. Showing up early, staying late, protecting your peace, working in silence, refusing to complain, staying focused on the outcome, not the obstacle. You become someone others admire not because you're loud, but because you're consistent. And consistency is rare in a world addicted to comfort. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to keep moving, keep choosing strength over ease, progress over perfection, vision over distraction. Every time you do, you're building something the world can't take from you. Inner power, the kind that lasts, the kind that grows under pressure, the kind that carries you through storms without breaking. Your future isn't waiting for luck to show up. It's waiting for you to rise, to take full ownership of your time, your energy, your actions, to stop outsourcing your discipline to circumstances. You have everything you need. The question is, will you use it? Will you commit to your growth even when no one's watching? Will you stay true to your path even when the results are slow? Because in the end, your life won't be defined by what you hoped for. It'll be defined by what you built, by the habits you stacked, the standards you raised, the voice inside you that whispered, keep going. When quitting seemed easier, that's what legacy is made of. Not one big moment, but thousands of quiet ones, where you chose to rise. So rise and keep rising, no matter how slow, no matter how silent. Rise with purpose, rise with grit. Rise knowing that every step you take with intention is a vote for the life you were born to live. You don't need permission, you need consistency, you need focus, and you need to remember every single day that greatness is not given, it's earned, in the grind, in the silence, in the relentless